Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home. That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Appreciate you tuning in to my show. I'm the American Anchor Baby here today on a Wednesday. Going to be getting into some stuff. I got a halfway show for all of you. I was a little absorbed with Hassan's new show. That was awesome. We had a little episode there. If you guys missed it, Wow Hassan. That's Wow Hassan on YouTube. He had his dad on for the first episode. Great stuff. So I was a little absorbed there. But now it's time to get absorbed into my show a little bit here. At least what I got for you guys. I got some stuff for you guys. Some stuff I want to get into. Really, it's gonna be a loosey-goosey one. I got a bunch of random little things that I've held over so many other shows. And so we'll get into all this and that. Have a little fun here. And maybe talk about it a little. Maybe every now and then get a little deep, right? That's here on American Anchor Baby on YouTube. Drop that follow and subscribe here. That's one way you can support, and it helps. Dropping a like, doing a little comment on the video, puts it out there. You know, if you can't donate. So we got also rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. If you want to go over there, they got some snazzy new view now. You got like a nice new view, at least on the desktop. Don't know what it looks like on the phone if they changed that. But they're updating their tech, and it's getting snazzier. And the people like snaz. Where's your blazer, Nick? I thought I'd dress down, you know? I'm doing what's it called? Bokeh. Manzai. I'm doing Manzai. I'm being the perfect mirror to Hassan, right? He comes in with a certain energy. You come in with a mirror of an energy. It's a style of theater and comedy. But I don't know what I'm saying. That's not the theme, okay? We're not being thematic with that. I'm not going opposite Hassan. I just don't have a blazer on, y'all. But I got the Mickey Mouse on. Yeah, let's go. Okay. I think he says ankle sometimes. Are people wondering about ankle? If you don't know what an ankle baby is, have you really been watching? Maybe you're new. Someone tell this individual what an ankle baby is in the chat. If you're not in the chat, hey, maybe you're fine. You're not distracted. But you can always join in the chat. It's always a party in the various chats. Right on. Okay. So what do we want to do first? You know what? People are kind of up in arms about this. But a little moment with Biden. We love Biden. And he fell asleep, right? Some are saying he was bowing his head in reverence. I heard a call. I think I heard a halfway call. I didn't really hear it, so I don't know what happened on the Hake Report. I don't think people were too happy about this little photo. End wokeness. Criminal dies. And it's Biden on the knee. I guess this was for George Floyd. And then when there's 1,000 missing, 115 plus dead, 1,000 missing, here's your president, Biden. Fair comparison. I'm not gonna say it's not. Fair little comparison, okay. But why be up in arms? He's not like real. No, I don't mean clone. I mean just like not a real person. He's just there, a figurehead, fill in the position of president. So, to be up in arms is being mad about an illusion. You know what I mean? And it doesn't necessarily mean he's not showing reverence. It just means he's like old or something. Hey, I fall asleep at wrong places. Like, I'm not saying this is okay as a president. I understand this, obviously. As a president of America and showing up at this place like this is, we can all agree it's embarrassing. Okay, let's put that aside now a little bit. Let's put that aside. Okay, we got that out of the way. But, just falling asleep. Who falls? Hey, anybody in chat falling asleep at church? Be honest. No, I don't mean Jesse's church. That's engaging. But maybe even hey, I've seen a doze off or two all these years at Jesse's church. Does it really mean that they're showing disrespect? Or did they just not sleep? I used to get pretty embarrassed about that young, like going to church. My family, they're all Christian. And they're like, what are they? I guess Protestant. The hooping and hollering Christians, okay? I don't know what you call them. But they were Latino, hands in the air, emotional music, swaying back and forth. Now, that was the churches we went to. My family always kind of stayed a little bit. They would judge. Okay, I'll just put your business out there, familia. They would be like, yeah, I wouldn't go around doing that crazy stuff. But here we were at that church. I would feel embarrassed if I would do this thing. I would yawn in church. I would let out a big yawn in church. And when you yawn, your eyes tear up sometimes. I would get really embarrassed because I'd look around and hope that nobody saw me tearing up because I wouldn't want them to mistakenly think I was having a religious experience. I was like, no, don't mistake these tears for a religious experience, okay, you wackos, as me as a kid in church. Ankle baby was Pentecostal. Okay, I forget what that is. But I would hide my teary yawn, post-yawn eyes. I wouldn't want them to misconstrue the tears. It was a silly thing I cared about. I was a kid, too. I remember we'd go to Mass. I went to Catholic school in Canada. He's an anchor baby in Canada. Nick cries while yawning. You don't tear up while yawning? Am I the only one? I let out a big old yawn. Anyways, I remember going to Catholic school, an anchor baby in Canada, and I had to do a bunch of Catholic stuff. I did my communion. I did my first communion. I got confirmed. I was just playing the part, I guess. I had to do that while being in that school. And I would be in church in the Mass. We would do Mass every now and then. And it would be so silent at times. And my stomach would grumble so loud. I would be so embarrassed. Another odd embarrassment. But I should have been like Biden. I should have been like Biden. Who? Let him cry. We had, I remember it was during confession. Anybody ever do confession? First time I experienced confession was in Catholic school. It must have been in grade 6. Grade 5 or grade 6. Yeah, okay. You guys are like, why is he saying grade 6? Okay, look. Anchor baby in Canada, I have many different parts. That's how they say it in Canada. They don't. It sounds a little childish. They don't say the 11th grade. They say grade 11. They don't say did you graduate from the 8th? Did you graduate from the 10th grade? Or sophomore and all that. You guys say that in America, right? Junior, sophomore and all that. You don't graduate from the 10th grade. You get your grade 11 or you get your grade 10. It sounds a little childish, but it is just school. I graduated. I graduated from kindergarten. Oof. I graduated from middle school. My kid graduated from elementary. It sounds a little silly. It kind of fits what I want a little clip I saw too. About parents. There's some protests going on here in Los Angeles. And They are mad. It's the conservative parents this time. I thought it was Antifa, the way they were blocking the street. We'll get into that in a moment here. Some stuff going on with the parents, you know? It's not always just as simple as things have, I don't know, I feel like things have become simpler in terms of identifying sides, especially for people who, I guess, become Christian or religious. But the sides are not delineated by what we think, by names and titles and what we wear and what we say. So we'll get into that. But falling asleep in Maui, I mean, it is a mess. 1,000 people missing? Is the media saying that at all? Like, sounds pretty significant, and it feels a little downplayed, but what can we do? What can we do, right? So kind of just riffing here. But what else do I remember feeling bad about? Having the grumblies in church, I said that, right? Borgogi, having multiple borgogi. Isn't that the like, no, I don't mean bulgogi. I don't mean Korean meat dish. No. I mean borgogi, which is like the sound your stomach makes. No? You might get borgogi from eating bulgogi. But it's the little rumbles. The grumblies. Anyways, I hated that in church. I would like stomp my feet a little bit and shuffle. Like, hopefully that will take over the sound. Silly times in Catholic school. But the Indians went to the moon. Why does it? You see in this? Indians went to the moon. 4th country to do it. First country to land in the moon's south pole, a first for the world. India. Why did I find this a little surprising? Obviously, it's out of ignorance. They've obviously had a robust space program for a long time, right? And I just didn't know. So maybe Bill knows if he's out there. Billy, if you hear this. I guess India had a robust space program this whole time. And they landed in the south pole of the moon. You know, I saw something trending. It was funny. It was India moon landing proof. I saw this trending, and I guess people are wondering. People are just not believing anything. The Chandrayaan-3 successful moon landing. They say they have images. People are incredulous of the proof. But, you know, I don't know what the heck a picture of the moon is supposed to look like. You know? Like, you have to wonder what it takes to take a picture of the moon. Over there in space with no light. People are wondering, why didn't they bring an iPhone camera? I mean, we have iPhones. Why? There was this one very grainy image of the moon surface I saw. Anyways. Robust Indian space program. Who'd have thunk it? You know, I was covering Indian street food the other day. You would never think that from a nation of street chickpeas. I know we're a nation of street meat and street tacos. Maybe I shouldn't say much, but street chickpeas slop. But they're on the moon. You got to respect that, right? Would it be fair to say? On the IQ question, the race and IQ question, are the Indians up there, right? It's the Indians, the Asians. They commonly beat white people and stuff. You know, pretty much everybody else, really, in terms of math and science. Mathematics, I believe it's the Indians, or a certain type of Indian that's up there with the Asians. So maybe it's not that I'm not incredulous. I just didn't know. I just didn't know is all. Okay? Trying to see the chat here. What are you guys saying? Played cricket on the moon? All right, guys, stop it. That's enough. That's enough. And the Russian lunar stuff failed. So the Indians beat the Russians. Luna 25 crashed into the moon. Space Agency Roscosmos. Wow. You know, it's amazing. The space thing, get out there. I mean, You got to be impressed. But what the Indians and all that made me think of the race IQ discussion we might have had on the Hake Report, Jesse Lee Peterson's show not too long ago. And I got a little thing for you there. You might be surprised. Yeah, you might be a little surprised. We'll get into that. But before that, people are talking about the moon landings here, okay? Just talking about the moon landings. People are incredulous, okay? All sorts of conspiracy. I heard another conspiracy. I guess they're calling it a conspiracy. They're calling it a conspiracy. It's an image that's going viral. I thought I heard it mentioned on the Hake Report. This image. Why the heck are celebs all painting their Maui properties the same weird shade of blue? Wonders this image that's going viral on the internet. It says here in the description, Obama, Clinton, Hanks, DeGeneres, Tegan, Kid Rock, now even Oprah. What exactly do billionaires see in this frankly off-putting color? I think the caller called it Dodgers blue. Is this Dodgers blue? Paint your home Dodgers blue and you will avoid the directed energy weapons that set Maui ablaze? Is that what I'm supposed to be believing here? It's like was it goat blood on the door in Israel, or was it Egypt? The curses, right? The curses in the Bible, the plagues of Egypt. Am I wrong, chat? Was it Egypt? And they said something about painting blood on the door. You see the doors, to avoid some sort of curse or punishment or killing or something. You guys know what I'm talking about. You guys remember Prince of Egypt. Painted blue. I remember someone was a little was wondering, but I must say, let me just tell you, because I've been seeing some of this talk too. So many this or that celebrities, Maui estate, survived the blaze. Huh? Eyebrow raise, huh? Oprah? Well, the community notes, sorry y'all, the community notes debunk this on Twitter, known as x.com. The community notes debunk this. They say the Obama's estate is located in the community of Waimanalo. Is that Waimanalo on the island of Oahu, not Maui. Okay, you conspiracy theorists. Clinton, Hanks, DeGeneres, Tegan, and Kid Rock do not have properties on Maui. Oprah's house is not bright blue. And they share links. They share links here. Yeah, I'm protecting the elite today. I guess I'm protecting the elite today, huh? I guess I'm shilling a little today. Or am I shilling for, a little bit of space and decency? Not decency, but space and a little common sense, a little sober-mindedness before going nuts? What am I shilling for here? Am I shilling for Oprah, or am I shilling for a little bit of, level-headedness, y'all? You'd think, but this is ankle and shilling, confirmed, Illuminati confirmed. This is all silly anyways. This is all really not that important. Just kind of easy 12. This is easy 1228 radio. 12 o'clock. Well, it's probably later for some of you. This is just some easy lunchtime radio, I guess. But I see your calls coming in too. I appreciate that. 888-775-3773. But it's been debunked. Speaking of let me just use this as a segue. Maybe that's why I even had this story in the first place. Little segue to this Oprah thing. Speaking of conspiracies, why did Oprah suddenly stop exposing satanic ritual abuse? Whoa. A little Revolver article here. And this is something I didn't know. I found this kind of interesting, especially because I use some of these clips for Bible Thumper Thursday, which is tomorrow on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. You don't want to miss it. Those are always great. And I make those little Bible thumper intros, sometimes a little indulgent. Maybe I should, work on shortening them, limit myself to a time. But anyways, old Oprah apparently used to be a total right-wing extremist, or maybe even possibly early Wow Hassan show. You may have heard Wow Hassan on his show say, "Hey guys, you guys gotta drop those donos," because this is Hassan saying, "You guys gotta drop those donos because I'm gonna be talking about some pretty aliens, Illuminati, like talking about some exposing the real stuff." So that was Wow Hassan today's episode. If you missed it, check it out. Apparently, Hassan is just lifting like an artist, right? Just nicely and respectfully, but plagiarizing Oprah. No. Hassan is he's taking a note from apparently the greats. He's taking a note apparently from the giants. He's on the shoulders of giants. And in this case, I'm talking about Oprah's very large shoulders. Very large Oprah's shoulders. Okay, Oprah Winfrey. What happened to Oprah Winfrey, asks Revolver. We all once trusted and loved. Remember her? She was the host of a popular daytime talk show where she dispensed advice and gave away cars as if they were candy. I mean, I can't say I remember, but I've seen the clips. They lit up the internet as well. It became a huge meme. I guess closer to my time, making it sound like I'm... But okay, but then overnight, everything seemed to change, as if the Oprah we all knew had vanished. Twitter user Liz Crokin observed the transformation and recently discussed it in a widely popular post that's gone viral. Liz highlights how at one point Miss Winfrey's conspiracy theories would have likely gotten her labeled as a kook. She even used her popular show to out these monsters. Let's watch a little bit of this footage here that Liz posted here.
The next guest.
She's wondering what happened to Oprah. What happened to Oprah? Anybody remember this Oprah? Because I sure don't. In fact, I'm like way past all that. Not way past, but my time is Oprah's like an internet meme and Oprah's own network, and that's all that. This is classic Oprah, something I don't really know what this is. What do you guys know what the Oprah I'm referring to, that Liz is referring to? Is this true? I mean, we have footage. Let us watch a little bit.
My next guest was...
Oh, this sounds very, very, very low. Ooh, Eric with the super chat. Before we get into this Oprah video here, Eric here is reminding me that he's not the only super chatter. Let me just show some quick love to the super chats before we watch this incredible Oprah footage. And then your calls, 888-775-3773. Appreciate the patience. Eric, coming in strong, says, shout out to the growing Bond Network. Thank you very much, Eric. Sion, back-to-back, with some back-to-back super chats, some lovely little emojis. It says, try again. Little Lemon guy, is that Earl of Lemon Grab? Are you a cartoon watcher, Sion? Moon Cricket, oh no, that's from yesterday. And so those are some super chats there. You guys rock, thank you. Holding it down. Now let's watch some of this Oprah footage here, because people are wondering, where did this Oprah go? Okay. And let's see if I can boost this volume to the maximum.
Was used also in worshiping the devil.
All right, y'all, you guys gonna have to listen closely. We're boosted. It looks like the levels are okay. Could be a little better for you guys, but check it out. Oprah classic.
Participated in human. My next guest was used also in worshiping the devil. Participated in human sacrifice rituals and cannibalism. She says her family has been involved in rituals for generations. She is currently in extensive therapy. Suffers from multiple personality disorder, meaning she's blocked out many of the terrifying and painful memories of her childhood. Meet Rachel, who is also in disguise to protect her identity. You come from generations of ritualistic...
Can you guys hear it? Give me a 1 in the chat if the volume's okay. She's talking about ritualistic satanic abuse and these families and people who have come forth.
Abuse? Yes. My family has an extensive family tree, and they keep track of who's been involved and who hasn't been involved. And it's gone back to, like, 1700.
And so you were...
Right. I was born into a family that believes in this.
And does everyone else think it's a nice Jewish family? From the outside, you appear to be a nice Jewish girl?
Definitely.
And
just a nice little, they're talking about, okay, you guys are saying 1.75. One, it's good, keep going. Okay, she's a Jewish lady saying, on the outside, we were a nice Jewish family, but all wasn't so nice behind closed doors.
Does everyone else think it's a nice Jewish family? From the outside, you appear to be a nice Jewish girl?
Definitely.
And you all are worshiping the devil inside the home?
Right. There's other Jewish families across the country. It's not just my own family.
Really?
Oprah, someone cancel her.
So who knows about it? Lots of people now.
LOL, haha, satanic ritual abuse, haha.
Talked to a police detective in the Chicago area, and several of my friends know, and I've spoke publicly before. And
so when you were brought up in this kind of evilness, did you just think it was normal?
I've blocked out a lot of the memories I had because of my multiple personality disorder, but yes, I mean, if I could...
Wow. Matt Living the Dream in the chat says, it was all the rage in the 80s and 90s. Then the FBI changed how it collected crime data, and the elite satanic sacrifices went underground, and they are protected by the federal agency's control. Interesting. Are you talking about, I've heard this term, satanic panic? Matt Living the Dream, are you aware of that term a little bit? Anybody else in the chat a little bit aware? I was born in the 90s, 94. Is that a dox? Uh-oh. I'm kind of a ghost on these people lookup webs. Anyways, I probably shouldn't say that. Matt Living the Dream, anybody know? Satanic panic, I guess. I've heard this expressed before. What are you, is that what you mean by it was all the rage in the 80s and 90s? Yeah, I saw Fire by Night episodes on Satanism from the late 80s, early 90s. Interesting. Yeah, so, you know, probably some of you in the chat have already kind of speculated on Oprah's intentions, but can it just be simply, hey, this is interesting TV. I'm Oprah and I don't have any kind of biases or whatever, or you know, at the time, less more than we see now. So let me just have them on. It's good TV. It's good whatever. Or is she a right-wing extremist?
You grow up with something, you think it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought
So what kinds of things? You don't have to give us the gory details, but what kinds of things went on in the family?
That means she does want the gory details. Well, I guess not gory, but...
Well, there would be rituals in which babies would be sacrificed, and you would have to, you know...
Whose babies?
There were people who bred babies in our family. No one would know about it. A lot of people were overweight, so you couldn't tell if they were pregnant or not, or they would supposedly go away for a while and then come back. The other thing I want to point out, not all Jewish people sacrifice babies.
Wow, this goes on for another 2 minutes. You can check it out. Liz Crokin on Twitter here. 𝒐𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. What happened to sorry, I just got a text from Big Bump about the Indian space mission. What happened to this Oprah? Anybody remember her? Let me get to some calls here. What did Big Bump? You guys know Big Bump. He's co-hosted with Hake. He sent me a little something about the Chandrayaan. Oh, Lord. Bill just walked in and pointed out a big no-no, a big boo-boo. I didn't record the show, man. Sorry. But we're streaming, so let's keep going. I'm recording now. Chandrayaan. What did you send me, Big Bump? Says DSN Navigation and Network Services support for Chandrayaan-2 mission to Indian Space Research Organization. Is this some inside scoop? I heard Big Bump does some kind of work in this industry. I don't want to say too much, but tell me what that meant if you'd like. Big Bump. Right on. Let me get to a call here. Anything else I want to say about this? Loosey Goosey Wednesday. I mean, you guys found that somewhat interesting. Oprah, the right-wing extremist Oprah, sounding like a total domestic terrorist, sounding like she should be streaming on Cozy, sounding like the inspiration for at least for at least some of the Wow Hassan show DNA. Nice. Let me get to Latin A in Cali. What's up, Latin A? Say your name correctly this time.
Nick.
You're on the air. Appreciate it.
Latin A, yeah.
Yeah. I should know that by now, too.
Know,
I definitely knew that and should have known that by now, but you're on the air. Go ahead.
Quit making me laugh, man. I'm trying to talk here. I was really offended by you saying that maybe the East Indians might be smarter than Americans. Like,
why would you be offended by that?
The whites, I mean, than the whites. Like, don't you know their country has existed for like thousands of years and their country still sucks?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have never been even close to being as excellent as the United States. And I know there's a lot of people
Well,
that
they
say,
landed on the South Pole of the moon? Sorry.
Well, you know, even people say, you know, like, when has America
Guess they win
ever
in the
been
racial fight. Indians win. Whites lose. I'm honestly being just I'm messing with you because I found it funny that you're offended by it. You know, I was saying that the Indians, and this is just my impression, I'm not sure, but don't they beat most races in terms of like mathematics and science and that kind of stuff? Now that doesn't mean that that's just one aspect, right?
You know what? I don't.
That's just like one aspect of what, IQ or whatever?
No. I look at their country, you know, actions speak louder than words. They still eat with their hands, okay? You know, the United States has like.
But I'm just trying to point out that you have a gripe with someone else, not me. I'm not talking about. I'm not saying that. That's not what I was saying. You're saying you're talking about. You're saying something someone else might be thinking.
I'm saying like I don't trust these statistics that East Indians score better than Americans.
Oh, gotcha.
Or whatever, you know?
Gotcha. You're
like,
saying that's all.
I think that they all, you know, they just paint narratives all the time to make you feel stupid, to make us feel stupid.
Gotcha. And so that's for you, that's proof enough that to conclude that you know, test scores or whatever, university admittance rates and blah, 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 science and math with Indians and Asians, that's BS. Look at their countries. They're a mess. There's no way those people are smarter than the white people or Americans.
I mean, Americans at least wear real tennis shoes. You know what I mean? Like real footwear.
You reminded me.
And we eat with forks and spoons and even chopsticks. You know, at least we occasionally eat with our hands, like a hamburger. But I mean, just look at their country store over 1,000 years in existence. Hilarious.
It smells like. Apparently, when you get off a plane, this is what all my Indian friends tell me. When they went to visit, they get off the plane, the first smell that hits you is the smell of poop. Hello?
And there you have it.
Yeah, so I don't disagree with what you're saying, but you see, you came in with like the wrong energy. Like I wasn't even saying what you're saying.
Oh, I was just teasing.
And I'm not offended or anything. It's no problem. We're friends. It's all cool. But isn't that kind of interesting?
Yeah. But I'm so offended, American Anchor Baby, you say that.
like you just wanted to come on and say that.
Yeah.
Right on. No big. Well, yes, the Indians, whatever. You reminded me, we had some Indian neighbors. I don't know if they were Indian, but there was a time in Canada when the floodgates opened, and it was like suddenly, it wasn't just, there was a little bit of diversity, but suddenly it was a massive amount of diversity, and it was very apparent because these people were very, very different. They weren't just a different color, but they were just completely different. They were head to toe, ninja'd out. They were eating with their hands, all that stuff. And I don't think... there was probably the only time, one of the few times in my life that I was sitting at a dinner table and I could not eat what was in front of me.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, last thing here. We'll move the wheels.
So I met a social worker who was East Indian, and she was super racist to me. I'm not even going to tell you what she did, but she was extremely racist. And the other thing is, I'm not down with 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 Ramaswamy because he says we need to be like, you know, he wants to be extra tight with India. I'm like, I don't think Trump ever said, oh, you know, if you pick me as president, we're going to be super best friends with India. You know what I mean? Like, Isn't it just supposed to be America first? Like, who cares about them right now? We can't help anybody if we can't help ourselves first. And
right.
That's all I wanted to say.
Right on. Latin A in Cali. Are you, I forget, are you married? Oh, I was going to ask her if she's married to a white guy. Which is, which might explain the circling of the wagons. Hey, I circle the wagons too. How dare you say that about white people? Where were we? Yeah, I let it click. Speaking of, you know what? This is a nice little... let's see. What should we do now? What should we do? What should we do? Loosey goosey. You know what? Let's do this. The parents are protesting in L.A. The parents aren't going to take it no more. They're done. They're wishing Oprah would cover this, would return to her extremist ways and cover this, which is, I guess, not really covered. I'm talking about the parents, the fight, the transgender stuff. They're calling it the cult of gender. The cult of gender. Protesters have shut down a tunnel in Los Angeles. You know, I saw this, and my first impression was, oh, dang, there's the Antifa or something again. Blocking the streets. Let me see if I can pull it up. The parents, they're calling it the cult gender. The gender, what are they calling it? The cult of gender. Gender cult? Someone get them a PR person. You know? Someone get them a PR person to better market themselves or something. They're calling it the cult of gender. Gender cult? People of color. Colored people. This is the tunnel. These are the parents. They don't like the cult of gender.
Leave our kids alone! Don't compare with Muslim! Pro-family, that's a lie! Leave our kids alone! Leave our kids alone!
Right on, man. Leading the chant. Maybe a little freestyled. Maybe kind of like my show. Maybe could be maybe a little better thought out. Kind of like my show. But right on, guy leading the chant.
Leave our kids alone!
Bringing that, you know, there's some energy there, right? There's some energy. If they block me, I saw a comment too. If these MAGAs people block me, I'm running them over. This is not me on YouTube. This is a comment, and of course we don't like any of this violence, but this commenter was saying, if these MAGA people, something like that, are going to block my way, I'm going to run them over. Geez, anger. But I kind of thought the same thing when I thought it was Antifa. Like, I'm not saying that you should or that I would, but I thought to myself, dang, I hope they're not surrounding a vehicle, and I hope this vehicle doesn't get panicked, and which is kind of to be expected when you're, you know, 1 or 2, 3 people in a car surrounded by a angry crowd, maybe even that's touching your car, rocking it, breaking it sometimes in some of these cases. And then they pedal to the metal. I thought the same thing. Then I saw they were, I guess, on our side, right? They were on our side. But I thought, that's still possible. That's still possible. These people can still surround a car and not be thinking, walk into a trap, angry about the whole thing, surround a car. One thing happens. Some people in the crowd perceive this car to be a threat in some way. The people in the car perceive them to be a threat. It's he said, she said. It's pedal to the metal. It's people getting run over or this or that, property getting damaged. We've seen videos like this. We've seen cases like this. We've seen numerous things like this. It could happen here too. People not thinking, right? Sean in the chat says, I heard that's why a lot of people don't like Dinesh D'Souza because he wants mass immigration from India to here. I didn't know that. I mean, not that I would ever even vote for him. Like, it's Trump, obviously. It's only Trump, duh. Like, this is all like a show. It's like, oh, we got Ramaswamy and DeSantis, and now let's do the debate. So now we're going to talk about policy. And they're all fighting against Trump. That's what this is. It's all a big little show. I say, hey, maybe some good might come out of this, especially if Larry Elder was going to be at the debates. That would have been awesome. Just to get those ideas out there. Fatherlessness, all that. Hey Larry, throw in a little JLP shout out if you do end up at the Republican debates. Now that might break the internet a little bit, maybe. It might just totally go by, but it might be like Larry Elder invokes name of Jesse Lee Peterson. SPLC gets involved, and then it's maybe you might think negative, but the world will hear. The world will hear the name Jesse Lee Peterson. So yeah, Larry Elder, just a little. Hey, throw in a little JLP shout. Hey, maybe not. Up to you. Look, what am I saying here? It's all a show. It's a Trump, obviously. So I'm not gonna vote for Vivek, but I'm a little surprised to hear that because he says like all the right things, right? He sounds like America first. He sounds like he wants the right thing, close up the borders and all that. But one thing we can't forget, it's not just about illegal. It's not just the southern border and illegal. It's this whole idea of immigration in the first place and what it means to build a nation, okay? We're talking about fundamental things that you won't have in America should you not have the people or you replace them. All that, you guys know. So not sure about that one, Vivek. Is that a little bit of a melting pot mentality? Are the Hindus into all that? The Hindu melting pot. You know, I'm a little surprised as I learn about this or that thing every now and then. I'll see that some of these political and economic and philosophies things, I'm talking about things like communism, and they have sometimes like religious roots. I'm surprised sometimes to hear about things like, even on today's episode with Hassan, about he had his father on the show, and his father said that a true Muslim government we've never really seen it. Kind of like how the communists say that. The communists say, you say, where has communism ever worked? Yeah, well, it has never really been tried. It sounded like Hassan's dad was saying that. That was pretty funny. And I heard about Tikkun Olam. Have you ever heard of Tikkun Olam? Tikkun Olam is a concept in Judaism, I think modern Judaism. There's a difference, okay? I don't know. The point is there's a bit of a difference. There's a schism over the hundreds of years. It's a concept of Judaism which refers to various forms of action intended to repair and improve the world. I remember the Biden administration put out a White House statement about Tikkun Olam, saying that they need to repair the world. And so a lot of people were saying globalism. That's kind of what I'm referring to. There's like a religious connection to some of these things that we may not understand. Hindu melting pot. I wonder if that's a thing. Hindu. I mean, I don't know if Vivek's a Hindu, but the chakras and stuff, maybe. Vivek, Hindu is a melting pot. You know who else said? Didn't Oliver Anthony say America's a melting pot? You know. Oh, no. Newsweek, Oliver Anthony's melting pot comment sees fans turn on him. But why, you know.
I mean, we are the melting pot of the world, and that's what makes us strong is our diversity, and we need to learn to harness that and appreciate it and not use it as a political tool to keep everyone separate from each other, you know?
Huh.
I mean, we are the melting pot of the world, and that's what makes us strong is our diversity, and we need to learn to harness that and appreciate.
I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But I like Oliver Anthony. Whatever, y'all. I didn't think you would be it's a mistake that sometimes we make. This guy's our guy. He's the most base guy ever. He thinks like me. He has to. And then when he doesn't, which invariably always happens, invariably you'll always find something you disagree on. And I kind of feel the same with Vivek. He's putting out good stuff. I disagree with anything that's not America first. I'm not going to vote for him. Simplice. We're freestyling right now. Where are we? Parents. I was talking about the parents. They're protesting. I think it's a little bit misguided. They're looking like Antifa out there. And meanwhile, what are parents actually doing? This is how I see the parents. In this Twitter moment here, I'm going to talk about this man who calls himself a dad. He calls himself a Ranger dad. He goes by Ralph the Airborne Ranger. Twitter profile says Catholic first, a ballistics appreciator, anti-com, future Caesar, frequent protagonist. He's a former airborne ranger, like just a savage, a beast. Okay, and in this Twitter post he made, I think will demonstrate what the parents are really like in America, even if they call themselves Christian, or they call themselves, patriots and rangers. There was a moment that kind of went viral on Twitter. Ralph the Airborne Ranger. Let me pull up his Twitter profile so you know who I'm talking about. And again, well, I don't know if I've ever said this, but this doesn't mean you go and mess with them. He's saying, okay, Ranger Dad activated, he says in all caps, all capitals. Let me pull up the post here so you can see it. He says, okay, Ranger Dad activated. He's clearly not happy about something. He goes on, it reads here. My oldest daughter got jumped at school today by the girls who jumped her last year. Third day of school, cold clocked her after they were told to leave my girl and her friends alone. On day 2, I'm laughing because I sounded like Hake there. I'm just lifting. I'm a hate clone. My poor girl's face, he writes. He goes on to describe the story further here. Okay, remember, okay, Ranger Dad activated. He's not happy about this situation at school. His third day at school, his baby girl got jumped. That's crazy too. Why are girls getting jumped? Isn't that like a guy thing? Girls get jumped? I don't remember that. Anybody ever been jumped? I got jumped once by a group. Didn't make me stronger, that's for sure. Oh, you're so strong for everything you've survived. They were just some mean kids. I learned to throw a few punches though there. I may have learned something. I learned to throw a few punches, see when the crowd turns on you. That might be a story for another time. But when are girls getting jumped? What's this Ranger Dad? Is your kid at a black school? Oh, I'm sorry. Is your kid at a black school? But I guess girls get jumped, okay? Girls get jumped. That happens, okay? Let's not be incredulous here. Let's move on here. He goes on to write, these scumbag, I didn't censor any of this, but I won't say it. These scumbag bleep got expelled and charged last year for this. It's why we homeschooled her last year, or tried to at least. We thought maybe it'll be okay to get her back for her senior year. And then I get that call. I'm 4 states away and I've never been more fired up in my entire effing life. I demand results and satisfaction. I will extract it from whomever I need to. Is the school and her effed up parents civilly responsible for what has happened? Day effing 3, he writes. Day effing 3? Sorry, I gotta mute this. Trying to think about something else. This is, of course, the last post in the series of posts here where he describes this saga with his daughter. He finally ends it off saying he's got to mute this, meaning he's got to mute the post because he's getting all this attention and comments. And so he's seeing the comments and the notifications. He's responding. Like I said, it went viral. He's saying, I'm going to mute this, trying to think about something else. Sorry, I need my me time. I need to decompress. I'm deeply appreciative of all the messages of support for my girl. She's a wonderful, wonderful kid, and I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. Thanks, everyone. Will update, okay? Some of you in the chat are already kind of cringing. You guys, no, a group of blacks did not jump me, Karen Williams. Where was I? Yeah, some of you are already wondering. You guys are already saying, that's an interesting comment from Everything Is Fake. Says, nah, guys don't jump. That's against the Warriors code. That's interesting. I think you're right. It's kind of cowardly. Fight me one-on-one, huh? Hey, Run these ones. Matt Living the Dream says, a ranger, and laughing, crying face emoji. Seems to be laughing at this big, tough ranger. I think Matt Living the Dream is seeing kind of what I'm seeing here. Is this the strong parents of America? Tell me if you disagree, okay? 888-775-3773. Oh, Nick, this is actually a strong dad. You're actually just a hater for clout. You just are starting stuff, trying to get content. Guys. Ranger dad activated, and you go on Twitter and you're like, look at what happened to my daughter. And then he's like, I'm so mad. And now I'm gonna extract. I demand results and satisfaction. I will extract it from whoever I need to. And he writes here, this has happened before. He says these scumbags got expelled and charged. They got charged, apparently. It was that bad. They charged them last year for this exact same thing. Then he starts homeschooling his kids. And then what does he do? He puts them back in school. Now, I don't know the story. Maybe these girls are like, that's my friends, Dad. Put me back. I'm fine. I don't know. I don't care. The point is, I don't know if you get to complain and go all Ranger Dad mode on Twitter here. Am I right, y'all? Like, Ranger Dad mode. Like, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. You're just complaining on Twitter. And who put her back in school? Am I being too nitpicky here? Like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, Nick. It's just kind of my first impression here, okay, guys? And then the guys. These are men in the chat. This is the men in the chat. These are their responses. Let me show you. Let me read you some of this. These men in the chat responses. There was a good one here. There was a good one. It was a man. He was saying, I'm laughing because I just came across a funny comment here. As I'm scrolling on this very post, someone asked a question that some of you are asking in the chat right now. Okay, this is Secondhand Vegan in the comments asking the Ranger Dad, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say it was black girls that jumped her? ? When did the vegans get so tough? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it was black girls? Well, suddenly the vegans are all based. What's going on here? But guess what the response was? Ranger Dad responds to this post saying, ... no. Like, he didn't just write no. He wrote, like, he did one of these, but in text form. He did one of these. He said, no. Eyebrow raised, looked around. Is this guy serious right now? That's the Twitter text equivalent of that. Let's be real. Or am I reading too into this? Southern California, it's a different demographic. The Ranger Dad responds to this one as well. These are the LA people that moved to Kern County during COVID. Bakersfield has been really hurting since these Angelinos came. Huh. So for any one of you who are wondering, that's on this side of the saga. Well, there's your answer. You racists. You bunch of racists in the chat. I'm having a little too much fun with this story, even though it's silly. But tell me if you guys agree. Isn't this kind of an emblematic, demonstrative of parents and what they consider strong? It's kind of pretty wrong from the get-go, and he's mad about these violent girls in school. The school he put his own girls back in. What do you guys think? What are you guys saying in the chat? Kern County. What do you guys know about Kern County? I don't know anything about it. I mean, this is just like a silly thing. This is just like one person. Can't even confirm any of this. But don't you see this same kind of a mentality on our side? You know what I'm saying? Tweaker chasers stay in Bakersfield. Oh, is that true? No way. Ranger Dad. Whatever. Shout out to the Ranger Dad, though. I mean, hey, whatever. The human race, says Mr. Mad, helping out our Ranger Dad here, who clearly doesn't want to be too spicy. Anyways, that's the saga of the Ranger Dad. I just don't see it. Can we call it a lack of seriousness in the parents versus the gender cult stuff? Because there's like, okay, we don't like it, let's protest. And then there's like, okay, we're serious about this, and we're just creating our own life. You guys go be crazy. We're not going to try and impose. We're not going to try and fight. We're not going to protest. We're not going to be demons fighting. We're going to reflect, work on our lives, homeschool, do our own thing. What do you guys think? Anyways, let's move on here. Has it really been an hour? Wow. Whole lot of this, whole lot of that. Talking, you know what? Since we've been talking about all this, we're talking about school, a little bit of Oprah, a little bit of conspiracy, huh? A little bit of race, too. People wondering about race. Even in this story. Was it black girls? And there's a bit of a forbidden topic. The forbidden topic. Race and IQ. How important is that? Okay? And this was brought up on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. You know, I was thinking my show's not thematic at all, but in fact, as disjointed as it is, there's a little like connection going on in thematics and stuff. Hassan had his first episode today. Who brought up the race and IQ topic recently that brought many calls and conversation? It was Hassan, so thanks for that. A little segue there. Race and IQ. They say it's important. Some say it's important. Some say it describes many differences between the races. Kind of like we were talking about earlier. The Indians, the Chinese, and the Asians or whatever. I guess Indians are Asian, no? Ooh, you ask some people, they'll say that. That they generally test higher in math and stuff like that. Which could be all lies. It could be all lies. Fair point, actually. They lie about everything. But where was I? I wanted to say something about this. Something I was thinking about. Because on this topic, I've always left space for IQ to be real. Okay? What I still do. Okay, what I mean by that, that's not clear. And the reason it's not clear is because I'm not a science guy. And I'm not an expert, and I've done the study. You know what I mean? I'm like you guys. I probably have as much knowledge about it as the next guy. Which, that fact is the reason why I'm kind of bringing this up. Because as much as I've left space for that to be real, and I don't deny like racial differences and that those racial differences can be even measured and predicted. Okay, I don't deny that. That could be true. But I don't personally ultimately know the true reason, okay? And I realized I have a good question for the people who may believe that totally. And if they're Christian, if you're a Christian and you believe we're totally subject to our IQ, I ask you at home, you call in if you disagree or want to answer, 888-775-3773. Can you overcome IQ? If you're not Christian, you might want to answer it as well. But do you, in your estimation, in your whatever, do you see IQ as something you can overcome? Kind of a little question I have. Because I personally don't really know what that all means. As much as I don't deny it, that it's possible that there's differences, that there's all these differences, right? Measurable, predictable even. But I feel like a lot of us growing up in this kind of like Google world and science world, we grew, science is like, we may not even notice it at this point in our lives, but I think that our education in school about science and the natural world and physics and whatever has been, it's been a little bit different than many generations prior. It's very focused on the material world and measurable world, and I don't think we really understand it. And I think a lot of us have developed a mindset, a mentality, a scientific mindset that thinks it understands things like genes, okay? And for example, in my mind, this is what I mean. This is my example. I grew up learning about DNA, 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎, and I went to chemistry, and I took physics, and I learned all this, and I learned all that. And in my mind, with all that learning, I saw DNA as this unchanging thing. It's your code. They call it a code. They call it the genetic code, and that from it, you can decode it, and it tells you what your hair's going to be, how big you're going to be, the color of your eyes, all this stuff, right? It almost gives it this impression that it's this unchanging code that you're born with, and that it's the key. Your DNA is the key to it all. It holds all the secrets. Doesn't it almost sound like it's unchanging? When I come to find out, in all my learning, there's a pretty, and this has been kind of studied for a while, but this is a more recent one, gene-environment interaction, they're calling it. Okay, if we're going to be in this realm of academia and we're going to be all book-learning smart and learn all these words, here's a term for you. Gene-environment interaction. Something you may have never heard about. But the implication here being, and you can look it up yourself, that genes actually change. And what changes them? I'm talking about your DNA, this code that's supposed to tell you exactly who you are, everything about you. It changes, at least according to this research, Harvard University and many other universities. They say your DNA is affected by your life experiences. I'm talking about emotions or other things. I'm talking about overcoming hardships. I'm talking about heartbreaks. I'm talking about doing drugs and that kind of stuff. Now, they say the genes hold the mystery to even that addiction, that there is a gene that indicates, probably out there's a gene where people who have this gene are more likely to be addicts, and it gets activated in your life. They say this. I've heard this. But if we're to believe some of this research, that your DNA is not this unchanging thing, that it actually changes with life experiences, DNA plasticity, the implications, you understanding here? Are you following my train of thought here? The implications are that we, first of all, don't know what DNA means and why the races are different. If DNA changes, what if peoples really just are exhibiting characteristics after generations of compounding? You might say, well, Nick, we do know the differences and the IQ differences in the races because we can measure it and we can, and you can see the differences, right? You can see them. The Asians are good at math and these people are good at this. But my ultimate point here is, do you really, how is my speculation different from your speculation? That my speculation is that, well, what if generations of people doing the same thing, being into this or that thing, gets expressed genetically in future generations? How is that speculation different from yours? Well, these people's IQ that's just how they are. People with this IQ act like this, and this is how they are. IQ dropped 30 points. What, listening to this segment? Fair enough. So if we're in this realm of speculation, right? If we're going to be there. Now, that doesn't mean the American people should be subject to like open borders and all these different people. It doesn't mean that at all. The Americans should be subject to that. It's evil what's going on. Open borders and a replacement of the original American peoples. It's just, for me, when it comes to this conversation, it's, do you believe in God? You know what I mean? You don't have to make that judgment about things you don't know, because like we talked about a few days ago, I think 2 days ago, your beliefs actually hold you back from just, they hold you back, your beliefs and things. We don't need to go that far to know that we shouldn't have this immigration and all that, or that the races should be separate or all that. We don't need to go that far. The Bible says the road is wide to destruction, something like that, right? It's a wide road to destruction. Most people aren't going to overcome stuff. They're not going to overcome their culture. They're not going to overcome their IQ or whatever. So I guess I'm just nitpicking because I care about your salvation and its content, I guess. I'm just reminding you guys to leave that space kind of open, I guess, for the possibility that, yes, you can overcome IQ, as unlikely as it might be. You can overcome all things. You may have a judgment in your mind on what overcoming IQ may even look like. But I think it's still true regardless of our judgments. Okay? Come on. Making some sense here? Whatever. My logic was broken when... Oh, thank you. Everything is upside down. Sorry. I don't want to dox you. The science... you mean adaptation. The science call it evolutions, but man and everything on Earth is devolving. Interesting take, Matt. They call it evolution. Nitpicky. They call it evolution, but I don't see it. Where is all this evolution in progress and progressiveness? Overcoming IQ is like overcoming eye color. Are you sure, JS Urban Adventures? Are you a Christian? I'm not saying you're not if you believe what you just said, but I'm wondering, like, how can you believe you can't overcome IQ? Because if we're to believe, follow my thinking here. Again, we have to make this assumption here because I don't think we know what IQ even is. Following the nonsense, Nick. I might be in nonsense. This may be pure nonsense, but hey, we're having fun today, Wednesday show. Tell me if you disagree. If we're to believe that IQ is supposed to, is a great predictor of ability and intelligence and behavior, how do you square the people, I guess, who don't follow that? Right? Because if the assumption here is, for example, IQ in the blacks is lower on average, how do you explain, like, blacks being better, like in Jesse's time? And I've heard that even that there's always been a difference in violence. But you see my point here a little bit? How do you explain that? If that's not overcoming IQ, then I don't know what is. Overcoming IQ is, I think, possible. I think it's possible. But we're just talking about stuff here. It's just something I thought. Maybe you guys want to riff on this too. 888-775-3773. Let me move on to this. In the same vein and topic of race and IQ, I came across this little interesting story. I didn't know that this was true. I came across this. It's by African Hub. Okay, it's a Twitter account known as African Hub. Let me just pull it up. African Hub puts out tweets about, I guess, is it fair to say, African history? African Hub. Let's go to it. Telling the African stories to the world is the description of this Twitter account, okay? And there was one post that went viral. We're talking about another viral Twitter post. It was about a metal mask, okay? They shared an image of a metal mask. And in this post, it says, this metal mask was used during slavery for 3 main reasons. Let me see if I can pull up the actual tweet. Okay. It writes here, it's written here, this metal mask was used during slavery for 3 main reasons. To prevent the slaves from eating fruits such as apples, pineapples, orange, cashews. I want to pull up the full tweet here so I can show you guys, if you just bear with me. They may have deleted it. Aha! Bingo. This isn't the original one, though. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Because the original was from just the other day. Here it is. African hub. This metal mask was used during slavery for 3 main reasons, okay? And the rest of this reads, 1, to prevent them from eating fruits, such as apples and oranges. Here's the picture of the metal mask in question. To prevent them from eating fruits while harvesting them, yet they were made to work consistently. To stop them from chanting African spiritual songs. It was to break their spirit. Not only our spiritual and war songs affected the slave masters, it also motivated some slaves to rebel. And three, finally, to stop them from teaching our African local dialects to their children. Is the claims made by African Hub. Now, I'm no slavery or metal mask historian, and I don't know if this is all true, but Community Notes added a little context here. The Community Notes here reads, these masks were employed to prevent the wearer from eating soil, also known as 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎, a form of pica, which is like the clinical term, the psychologist's clinical term or whatever, for eating things that are not food, whether it be objects, and usually dirt. When it's when pica when pica in a person is when their thing is dirt, when they're into dirt and soil, it's 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎. So the metal masks were supposed to be placed on them to prevent them from doing this and becoming sick and dying. The practice of 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 goes far back to Africa. Soils, however, can be contaminated with worms, parasites, and heavy metals. So as according to the Community Notes, the Twitter-based Community Notes, it was for their own good, their own protection, okay? Apparently. And so why was I interested in this, though? Why are you showing us this, Nick? Because I was a little fascinated, not so much, well, because when I looked this up, this whole �𝒊𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎, the metal masks and the slaves, and the whole practice of �𝒊𝒂𝒔𝒎 and pica and eating dirt, actually being a habit in the South that came from like a long time ago and lasted up until like the 1980s, and maybe even still now, but it's a dying practice, okay? And there was a story in Mississippi it got a lot of attention at the time in 1983 in the Clarion Ledger in Jackson, Mississippi, under the headline, "It's hard to quit the habit, Mississippi dirt eaters say." And so this got a lot of attention at the time because it was such a weird story that people were eating dirt. And then this person who wrote this story in 1983 got a lot of negative attention because a lot of people didn't quite understand it. They got the impression that the writer was trying to be mean and make a joke out of the people eating dirt. Others thought it was racist because a lot of them were black Southerners who continued this practice. A lot of people were thinking this and that. And in this headline, in this story, I read the article, "It's hard to quit the habit, Mississippi dirt eaters say." I found it a little bit kind of interesting, the interviews they did with a couple of the people here. And the way they describe it, okay? I'm going to read a little bit of this because in the context of race and IQ, I know what many of you are already thinking, okay? But you might be a little surprised. Open your hearts, thinking caps on. Don't be so judgmental, okay? Let me read a little bit of this. This is Mamie Harrington, one of the people that this article interviews. "When I was young, I used to eat dirt all the time. In those days, the people were farming and they didn't have nothing to do but chop the cotton and eat the dirt. Now they mostly live in town and good dirt is hard to find. But when you find some good dirt, it's delicious. There's good and bad dirt. Dirt eating, common practice in many cultures, apparently on the decline in Mississippi, blah, blah, blah." Here's another person interviewed. They write about how when it rains, they can smell it far off. And they want, here, I'll just read the quote. I want it very much. I just hope no one will bring me any dirt now because I know I'd eat it. It's an awful craving, Miss Williams said. It just seems like I wanted it then. And when my first child was born, I didn't want it anymore. That sounds, a lot of these, the way they're describing eating dirt doesn't sound that unfamiliar from other people. You kind of making that connection? It's like I have to have it, she writes. It's like I have to have it. It has such a beautiful taste. Lots of times I can eat dirt and not eat food. Okay. Here's another quote. Oh, yeah, right here. Oh, I keep thinking that if I could just find me some real good dirt and eat it, I'd be able to quit too. And now you might think, what are these low IQ, dirt eating people doing? But I think you would be a little, I think that would be an incorrect, I think you'd be wrong in thinking like that. Okay? Because the way these people are describing, it's dirt. It's dirt, right? If I only could find some good dirt, I'd stop. I swear I could stop just one more time. I swear I'll stop if it's just one more time. Just one more time. Or I just have a craving and I just can't explain it. I just can't explain it, but I have a craving. Someone in this article also explains how a childhood event, and then since then, they just, whenever they smell it, they can't help themselves. Sounds a lot like some of us. Maybe season the dirt, whatever, Ivana, very funny. Identifying with their dirt eating, says BA. Are you joking in the chat, BA? Or are you being, are you really seeing that? They aren't people, Nick. They're animals. Nate Higgers in the chat, which funny name. Have you ever done anything like that? Have you ever had a craving for something you can't understand? Have you ever acted and done something you wish you didn't do, and you told yourself you weren't going to do it, and then you did it anyways? Well, then maybe you're an animal. Huh? So it's just a little dumb. It's just a little thing I noticed. I think it's easy to judge, but it's the same as anybody, right? It's just that's other people's sins or whatever, or what they're into, their vices. They're fancy, right? Designer chemicals made easily available by an opulent society. Ooh, big pharma. Dirty minds and hearts that hate and commit violence. How about that? In the heart and mind, taking what they want, just taking what they want, throwing rocks and daggers at people. Is it really any difference? Who's the animal here? It seems like some of us are just fancy animals, dressed up fancy animals. Just kind of my thinking here. File that under not my problem, just stay away from me. Okay, fair enough, Doom Jesus. Some people have a sweet tooth. Fair enough. Don't eat dirt, kids. Don't make fun of my name, Nick. I was given this at birth. No. Far be it from me. Nate Higgers. I don't see anything funny about your name at all. Nate Higgers. Has Nick talked about UFOs yet? I have a previous episode on that. Just reading some of your comments here. I crave black licorice or black jelly beans sometimes. Ew. Ew. All right, Lendy, all of us, dirt eaters and your whatever vice and whatever anger you have in your heart, look, we all understand it, each other here. We have our own things. We got to overcome our own things. We don't need to be judging the dirt eaters or this or that person. It's actually all the same spiritually. But you, Lendy, craving black licorice, I don't mean Lendy. Yeah, that's a weirdo. We can excommunicate that person. That person doesn't count. Lendy, you don't count in that group. No, I'm not talking about you. We're not extending that grace and understanding to Lendy. Just everybody else. Okay. What shall we do now? What shall we do? It's Trump. they're talking about Trump. And Trump, they're talking about Trump. They're going to talk about him at the GOP debates today, which is tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. You know they're going to talk about him. It's going to be Trump. It's going to be about Trump. They're going to sub-tweet. What is it called when you talk about someone without saying their name online? Talk about him, but without talking about him. And then he's going to be, subtweet. Right, subtweeting. They're going to do that. Let's be real. And of course, Trump is releasing Tucker Carlson is airing an interview tonight as well. There's going to be a little bit of a competition there. But they're talking about Trump. It's the big topic. It's the big thing. Okay, we all know it's Trump versus everybody.
It's out.
And I never did get to play this clip for you. Trump put this out a couple days ago. And in my opinion, it is so true. He's telling people people should be dropping out. It's so serious. People should be dropping out and the party should just be coming together. That's how serious things are. And I got to say, Mr. President, you're making a lot of sense.
Great polls just out. Leading by 40, 50, and even 60 points. Who expected that? I did. Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, all very strong. But also leading Biden very big.
Biden.
The sanctimonious is crashing. Perhaps the party should come together.
Yeah.
People should drop out of the race. We unify.
Drop out.
We beat Biden and the Democrats.
Biden.
They should be easy to beat because our country has never been in worse condition than it is right now. Thank you.
Biden. No Biden. Oh, Biden. Yeah. But it's so true. Just drop out. I mean, let's be real. Anyone not dropping out and standing behind Trump, as much as I appreciate the conversation, iron sharpening iron, let's go, blah, 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 it's ego. If you're not dropping out and behind Donald Trump, okay? Just kind of my thinking. But Nick, why are you worshiping Trump? Look, we've seen what's been going on, and he's the guy. Drop out, and let's get behind Trump. Let's be serious. If you're serious about the country. I got Steve, New Jersey, on the air. Appreciate your call.
What's up, man?
Hey, Steve, what's up?
So I agree with your question about intelligence quotient. That I think you can overcome it.
Okay, interesting. You say yes, it's something you can overcome.
So before I get into it, have you ever heard of working memory or tasks of executive function?
I can't say I have. Could you give the audience and myself a little bit of a intro on this?
All right, I'm about to get mad intellectual right
Let's
now.
go. Let's go. Academia. We're the height of academia on the Bond Network.
Excuse me, sir. But so intelligence, if you actually look at how it's measured, different schools of thought say that your working memory, which is the ability to hold different levels of information all at once and then be able to retrieve that in a certain period of time, and then the tasks of executive function, in order to be able to take all of that, so all the layers, all the different periods of time that you are looking at it, and then be able to make one action. So if you're able to take, like if you do an IQ test, it's all ambiguous data. You're looking at something, trying to find the terms that are going on in the actual question.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure out how does this apply to get the right answer, like what's the actual solution for it. And I think the thing is that people get so caught up staying in their memory and staying with the knowledge and having all the layers, all the details, all the things, they're trying to reduce everything to one point when you start to realize, like, it doesn't help you with actually acting on it. You know what I mean?
Interesting, right. Like, what's the translation between recall of memory in this particular memory testing, test, and then real life?
Right.
Is that kind of what you're getting at?
It is, yes. So if you took somebody and they had a concussion or like a serious brain injury,
mm-hmm.
so if you were to put them through rehabilitation, the physical therapist, they'll have them actually do these cognitive tests to see, all right, can you do executive function? What's your working memory like? What's your reaction time? What's your verbal processing? All these different things. And you start to realize that yes, those are just natural processes that you do on a daily basis, but to even take those and isolate them out, how does that help you make a decision when, if your belief system, even underneath all of that, is skewing your decisions anyway? It's skewing what information you're taking in and holding on to anyway.
Yeah, I find this all very interesting because, again, I really don't think we ultimately know. That does, and I think that adds a little bit to it. Interesting stuff, because really, can you translate any of that into real life? Now, there may be some of that, but there may be, like, all I'm saying is that obviously there's some translation in faster thinking and stuff to real life, but we don't really know to what level. Okay, so you could pick out a pattern. We don't know what that means for different areas of life. It kind of reminds me of how just because the Asians are so good at math and they test higher and all that, doesn't quite mean that they will build a better or same society as America. In fact, it'll be totally different.
Right, I agree with you on that. So, like with black people, they, when you talk about IQ and demographics, and I didn't catch this on show, so I really can't talk too much about it, but if I think where he may have been going with it is just because you have, like you said with the Asians, they have the high IQs, their ability to figure all these things out, but then if you don't have the genetics, if you don't even have the healthy physiology inside of you to act upon it without getting angry, without, getting enraged, and you have a belief system that keeps sustaining it in the culture around you, you'll never even overcome the decision to make something of your own ability. You're always kind of making decisions based off of something else or someone else, or just your emotions in general, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Fascinating. What do you think about this? I was saying, too, though, that I don't think most people will overcome IQ or culture or whatever, all that.
I'm with you, and I want to see people get saved. I would love to see people overcome it. I don't think they will, though. I think some people, they need to, and it sounds crazy, but I think they need to keep themselves in that fallen state to do some of the work that they're doing, especially like high technical individuals. If you took that ability to be highly intellectual away from some people, I think things are going to start falling apart. And that's just my honest observation.
I think you're right, man. Interesting stuff. And thank you for that. Yeah, I personally agree. I don't think most people will overcome. So as much as we are trying to be accurate here on what we don't know and what we do know and the implications of it all, doesn't mean people need to be subject to all this diversity.
Right, and it's also how you deal with people, too. I mean, this is my last point, too, which is I think even with having a high IQ, if you start to really take away all the knowledge that you have and you get into day-to-day situations, like you don't need like 75 to 85% of the knowledge that you have in your mind to carry out what you need to do. Like, you just don't need it.
Yeah, it might even hold you back.
Yeah, exactly. It makes you feel crazier.
A lot of geniuses are maladjusted to life.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Dang, so true, Steve. Thank you for that. Anything else you'd like to say before we move the wheel, sir?
No, I actually, I emailed you a clip, and I really think you should check it out.
Would you send it to radio or the other one?
The radio one.
Dang, I need to make a Anchor Baby email. I got to do that. I should do that today.
Yeah.
That way I can always receive anything anywhere I am, because I think I can only receive radio stuff over on my other computer. Oh, and you said you sent me a video?
Yeah. I sent you a video, timestamps, all that stuff. You should check it out.
I will check it out, man. Thank you for that.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Well, thanks. Call me again. Moving the wheel,
No
sir.
problem.
Right on. Can you overcome IQ? I asked the Christians at home, and even if you're not, if you'd like to answer. But okay, Christians, can you overcome IQ? I don't know if it's that important of a burning question that needs to be answered. Still do your inner work, overcome the stuff going on inside of you. But if you have a little time to think about it, can you overcome IQ? I think you can. I could be wrong. But I was showing you a little Trump here. Today's that debate, the Trump thing on Tucker. It's kind of a big deal, guys. As much as it might be kind of tiresome, it's been just lie after lie, protest after protest, this or that crazy thing. Things are continuing to ramp up, especially for 2024. You know, it's kind of a big deal. Trump represents a lot, I think, for a lot of people. I think he also represents, in my opinion, to the, let's call it the established class of politics, both sides, Republican, Democrats. I think they also see Trump as a big change, he represents a big change. Who's in the GOP debate? Who's in the GOP debate anyways? Who got confirmed? Who's confirmed? I'm reading here USA Today. The debate is being held in Milwaukee. And we got Tim Scott, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, Chris Christie, Mike Pence, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. Who's that? Governor Asa Hutchinson. Is that the Tennessee? Tennessee. Is that Tennessee? Here's the firebrand GOP debate. Oh, it's going to be a good one. Oh, yeah. Of course, I'm a little bit incredulous of that. I think it's going to be whatever. I almost wanted to do just a short show, actually, and do a stream later and watch the debates with you guys. But I don't even know if I'm going to do that. I don't know if I'm going to watch the debates. It's like, who cares? I'll watch Trump. I might watch a little. Dang, no Elder, Lord Bibby says. Yeah, that's true. I forgot to even mention that. I don't see Elder on the roster there. I heard Larry Elder is suing. Oh, Asa Hutchinson is Arkansas. My bad. Arkansas. I'm not sure of anything anymore. I know, and here I am doing a show. I shouldn't be using such weak maybe language. Like Dennis from Bulgaria says, Josh, Utah, you're on the air. Appreciate your call, man. How you been?
What's up, Nick?
Hey, right on. Welcome. Thank you.
All right. So you asked me in chat if I'm a Christian. I am a Christian.
Hey, we got a Christian. What's up?
But you got to help me understand what you're saying about overcoming IQ. So
yeah.
So hear me out here. What's 2 plus 2?
4.
Can you overcome that?
I don't know what you mean. How can you overcome 2 plus 2?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like an IQ test is it's just multiple choice questions. There's one right answer. There's 3 wrong answers.
Mm-hmm.
You take the test, you see what you scored, and then it gives you a number for what you scored. So it's objective. It's all, you either got it right or you got it wrong.
Okay.
I don't know how you would overcome that. That'd be like overcoming being right-handed or left-handed.
Not quite, though. Because if we're to understand IQ here, then IQ is not 2 plus 2. IQ is your understanding of 2 plus 2 and your ability to answer that. Right? So it's not exactly 2 plus 2. It's your ability to answer 2 plus 2. If with our layman understanding of IQ. Is that fair to say?
Kind of. Well,
and so this is what I mean.
2 plus 2 isn't even a good example. I have an IQ test right in front of me. Can I ask you a question on it?
Sure, but hold on. I want to explain to you what I mean here, because I'm not even. I'm going to use your example here. 2 plus 2. Okay.
Yeah.
What I mean by overcoming is, like, if we're to understand IQ here a little bit, then it's supposed to be a measure of your intelligence, right? And your intelligence is used in your daily life in being able to answer questions such as 2 plus 2, or maybe even more complicated questions, right? Can we agree there?
It's like IQ doesn't have anything to do with your decision making or
at all
knowing how to build a house or anything like that.
Because my impression is from the people who talk about IQ and race and IQ, they say that their behavior, the race's different behavior, is also determined by IQ. You saying you disagree with that? How do you see it?
I don't know if it's a genetic thing, like something in their genes that gives them lower IQ, or if it's cultural and what their environment was like and their schooling and all that stuff, or it's both. Maybe it's a mix of both.
Gotcha. I'm with you. I think it's a mix of both. I'm talking mostly about the people who say it's like IQ is totally a genetic thing and that your behavior and all that is kind of determined from that. I'm saying...
Yeah, some people say that. I think it's a mix of both.
I think it's a mix of both. I think it might be a mix of both, but I'm saying this is what I mean by overcoming. People say that like, for example, it determines behavior and stuff. And yet I say that even if your IQ, due to your low intelligence or whatever it is, determines some behavior, for example, like being more violent or something like that, I think you can overcome that. That's what I mean.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Like, I think you could overcome maybe placing too much importance on IQ, but the people we're talking about don't even know
by
their
definition overcoming IQ? You stop putting so much importance on it, and then you work on your life. I think, in my opinion, that's by definition overcoming IQ.
But do you think these low IQ people in like African countries even know what IQ is?
I don't know. Maybe not.
Have they already overcome IQ, or they need to overcome IQ?
I don't know if knowledge of IQ would help you. I think it might even hinder you in overcoming it, because now you're all into IQ, saying this is what I am.
I think it's just a number based on how you take a test.
Say that. Say again.
I think it's just a number based on how you take a test. It's just an objective number. If you take a test in school and you get a 95%, then that's it is what it is.
I don't deny that one bit. It is a test, and people get numbers, they get scores on these tests, and that's what it is. I'm just saying that I don't think the number really defines you, and I think you can overcome the number.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So you agree you can overcome IQ?
I don't know.
I win.
I don't get what it just doesn't make sense.
I know it's probably a low IQ conversation. I think if anything, this conversation is demonstrating to us and to everyone that we really don't know what it all means. So again, I win.
But I've had conversations with people.
Around, but
I've had conversations with people, and they're like, "How come?" Or they're like, "You can't have a high IQ if you make a bad choice." But I'm like, "There's serial killers with really high IQs."
Aha.
So.
See?
I don't know what the point is.
The point is that IQ doesn't determine it all. If you're telling me these high IQ people are going out here being violent and killing like the low IQ people, then maybe it's a little bit deeper. And if these low IQ people who are supposed to be violent and stupid can overcome that and actually act better and make their lives a little better, then maybe we don't understand IQ and you can overcome it. As unlikely as it may be, most people won't. That's why we shouldn't just bring a bunch of Africans over. As unlikely as it may be, it's still an overcomable thing, in my opinion. As little as and ignorant as I am about IQ, as this conversation has revealed.
But when you talk about overcoming IQ, what about the dumbing down of it? Do you know what the reverse Flynn effect is?
I don't. Can you educate us a little?
So IQ is supposed to progressively go up in a nation. If the nation's doing good, if the country's doing good, the average IQ slowly goes up, 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 up. And that's been the case in America since they started keeping records on this. This year, we see for the first time, and that's called the Flynn effect, that the IQ slowly goes up gradually for the average. This year, we have a reverse Flynn effect in America. The IQ is actually going back down. And
sounds bad.
That's like the dumbing down of America.
I think that's real. I don't deny that.
Yeah.
Like I said at the outset too, I don't deny that there's differences in intelligence, and IQ may even point to that. I'm just saying that you and I, maybe some other people probably really understand this, but I think you and I don't really know. But yeah, dumbing down of America, I think that's real, and I don't think that's sounds like a pretty bad thing. I feel like I see it. I feel like I see it around me in the society. There really is a dumbing down. But even in this topic, man, even on this topic, the dumbing down and the Flynn effect that you brought up, I would posit that if you're telling me right now that the dumbing down is purely, I guess what I'm trying to say is that IQ is the ultimate indicator of this. I think it might be that our IQ is going down because of our spiritual dumbing down. Like we're in the weeds, man. True. Yeah. We're in the weeds. My point. I think I lean more to the immaterial. The material world is represented by the immaterial, not the other way around.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I just the way you asked the question, can you overcome IQ, didn't make any sense to me.
Fair enough.
But the IQ test is weird. It's not.
You said you wanted
there's
to ask
actually
me a
no
question.
memorization. You don't have to know anything to like. Real quick before I hang up, I'll just give you one example of a question on it.
Hit me.
So, which one of these 5 is least like the other 4? Bear, snake, cow, dog, tiger.
Which of these is least like? Say again. Bear, cow. Say them again.
Which one of the 5 is least like the other 4? Bear, snake, cow, dog, tiger.
Snake.
Of course. It's easy.
Give me a harder one.
Some of them, like the hardest ones for me are the logic ones, which will be like, I have to find it in the test, and I didn't have it ready. That was a good one. But no, it's like if all bleeps, or if a bleep is bigger than a bloop, and a bloop is sometimes bigger than a blop, are bleeps never bigger than blops, always bigger than blops, sometimes? And
if a bleep is bigger than a bloop, and a blop is sometimes
I'm not reading
bigger.
the question, so I'm just kind of throwing out an example. Yeah, you're not going to be able to answer.
Okay, I got you. Fair enough.
But
obviously bleeps are never. You're saying the bloop. You're saying a blop is sometimes bigger than a bleep. Obviously, a bloop is never bigger than a blop. Duh.
Right. But those questions can throw you off. But there's a trick to them. So what you do is you replace the weird words that they put in there with common things. So you could say a cat. If a cat is never bigger than a dog, and a dog is. So you change the words in your mind, and that's how you solve them. But if you know those tricks, you'll score higher on the test.
High IQ tricks, or is that cheating? Are you actually a lower IQ person, but you're using handicaps, mental handicaps?
Part of IQ is knowing those tricks.
Interesting.
Because it helps you with logic.
Fascinating. Actually, I find this fascinating. I hope all of you do too. I appreciate you coming in with this, Josh.
Yeah.
Did you see a little bit more?
You called me out. You said, "Are you a Christian?" I'm like, "I am a Christian."
we know Josh, and we know he's a Christian. Yeah. Do you see a little bit more of what I meant? Not saying if you agree or disagree, but do you understand more of what I was getting at? It's not so much the number that you get from an IQ test. Obviously, that's like a objective thing, but what that number implies about you, I think, is something you can overcome.
Yeah, I just don't like the way you worded it.
Fair enough.
Overcome IQ.
Right. It was a little bit maybe even purposely obtuse, because it's
kind of like, can you overcome skin color?
Right. It's like,
can you overcome skin color? Like,
I think you can. I think you can even overcome skin color. Think about that one for a second.
I think you can overcome the implications that come with it, but it's just a fact. It's not like.
No, I think you can totally overcome skin color now that you ask me. Absolutely you can. Because ask Chad O. Jackson. He featured in Uncle Tom 2 alongside Jesse. You ask him how he sees himself. He doesn't say he's black. He says he's the son of God. And I played that the other day to describe how people ask me all the time, Nick, what are you? Are you Canadian? Are you American? Are you anchor baby? I think you can overcome that, actually, now that you ask me.
Yeah. Well, like
obviously I don't mean that I've overcome blackness and then suddenly the black color of your skin flies away. You're like, I've overcome it. I don't mean that. But do you see a little bit more?
That's like, I don't like the word intellectual, but intelligent is okay. If somebody calls me intelligent, I'll say thank you. If somebody calls me an intellectual, I don't like it, because an intellectual is a person of intellect, and I want to be a person of God. So I don't. Like, intelligence quotient is just a number that represents a score you got on a test.
Fair enough.
Whereas an intellectual is somebody who puts value in their intellect more than other things. And you could overcome that, I think, or you should.
Fair enough,
I don't know.
Josh.
Maybe I'm too low IQ for this conversation.
Same here, bro. Josh, call me again last day before we move the wheels here.
Yeah, all right, later, man.
Take care, Josh. Call me again. Great call there. Yeah, I don't know. Again, let's just again reiterate. What the heck do I know? But I mean, think about that. When I say overcome skin color, I don't mean you meditate and then the melanin out of your skin, it just starts evaporating and you overcome skin color. I mean, you overcome your identification with it because it holds you back. Oh, I'm black. Oh, I'm this or that. It's like Tim Scott. He's an example of not overcoming your skin color. He says, I'm a conservative. I'm a patriot. I love the truth and what's right. But only up until it interferes with my blackness. Because don't you forget it. I'm a Republican. I'm an American. But I'm still black. Don't you forget it. You know what I mean? I'm still affected by racism or whatever. I got Maze on the air. Maze, Ohio. What's up, Maze? This is I think maybe your second or third time calling me ever. I appreciate your call. It's an honor. Maze on the line. What's up?
I want to talk about this IQ man.
Okay.
About IQ.
Let's talk about IQ. Okay.
Mm-hmm. There's two tests you can take. You can take one as a child and think that it's measuring your intelligence that you have.
Okay.
You know, if you're slow, that's what you measure to see. That's what most people take the test when they're slow.
Gotcha.
And then sometimes they fool them and say they got a high IQ, but they don't. But it's not important because they're not Einstein. I'm none of those type of people. And they're not geniuses. There's a difference between a person with an IQ and a genius.
And what's that difference?
One create, and the other one just took an IQ test because of their slowness. Yeah, intelligent they are.
But what about the IQ? Wait a second. And
if you take the one for a child and you're a grown-up, that makes you think that you're very intelligent, but you're not.
But wait a second. Hold up, Maze. So, okay, let me break it down. You're
I'm
saying...
just breaking it down for you, and it don't
you
matter.
broke it down for us. You're fair, but let me break it down a little bit further. Are you saying that the IQ tests, the IQ tests are only, let me say this, IQ tests are only administered in the first place because of a suspicion that the person that you're administering the test on is actually, has problems, low IQ, is slow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's the whole reason why you'd even consider administering one in the first place. So you're implying that if you're taking an IQ test, especially as an adult, that you're probably a little slow.
If you take one, period.
But what about the people who take this test, assuming your assumption is correct here, what about the people who take the test, but then they're like way above?
Smart people don't have to take the test.
All right, but then let's say, okay.
It's the slow people that they give the test to find out.
I'm following your framework here, okay? Let's say hypothetical here. Someone suspects this little boy is slow, quick, do an IQ test on him, but then the once suspected slow boy beats the IQ test, blows it out of the water as a high IQ individual. What do you say about that?
No, they're not. That's not. They don't test smart people. They test the ones that's slow.
So you're saying
what's wrong with their brain?
So you're saying even anyone who's taken the IQ test and has gotten a high score, even the highest of IQ score tests are still lower than the rest of normal people because only an unintelligent person would need to take that in the first place. Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
So even in the highest IQ people, they're still little league compared to the rest of us.
Yes, because depending on what test you took, you could take the one for the children or you could take the one for the grown-up.
Okay,
and some people get food. I know a whole lot of people
I've never heard this. This is interesting.
Like, really?
I've never heard this take.
Who fooled you?
So wait, what about if you take the adult test and you get a high score? What does that mean?
Well, we don't know because it was administered the reason for slow people. That's why it came about.
I know, but you just said that there's two kinds of tests, the kid one and the adult one.
Yeah, they have one for kids and they have one for grown-ups.
Well, let's say you take the grown-up one and you get a high score. What does that mean?
Well, you don't know which one you're getting depending on who's giving out the test, I guess.
Let's say you completely know you're getting the adult one and you get a super high score. What does that mean?
When people have to go see the psychic, that's what they use on the people to see if something wrong with their brain. And then they help build it up to, I guess, to potential where it should be.
I've never heard this. Maze, what do you think about what I was saying about overcoming IQ? What do you think about that?
Mm-hmm. That's what you meant. Oh. So anybody want to work talking about somebody got a low IQ, that's why they test them to build it up, to see what's the function and help them build it up.
Do you see differences in individuals, maybe even races or whatever, but do you see differences in intelligence and other things and ability to produce or that can be measured even? You know, they say IQ is a predictor of, for example, how much money you're going to make or even how much money a country will make, GDP, stuff like that. What do you think about that?
If that's the case, America, well, if that's the case, why was America at the top and then dropped to the bottom?
Immigration of low IQ people? Importation of low IQ people?
There must be a lot of them
I'm
around.
just thinking out loud.
No, because of the way they took everything out of the school system and the way they changed everything. To they don't even do cursive writing or anything anymore, and all these different.
I think you're right about that.
What kids need.
I think you're right about that. Yeah, I think we underestimate how much that can degenerate and brainwash and hurt people.
Yes.
Yeah. So you agree with me that all this, for example, talk of racism, this and racist country, this and racist America, this and that. You agree with me that that's degenerating and making people stupid.
So I wouldn't be walking around with an IQ talking about how great or how smart I am, and look at this and look where America is, and you in America and you live here, you grew up here, you were born here. So you should be looking around like, what happened? I need to help these people, not condone the people, or think you got a high IQ. So it doesn't matter. You could be creating stuff. That's what geniuses do. They create.
Oh yeah, you said geniuses create.
Yes, they create things.
Like what?
A lot of them create stuff that we still live with today. And the things that we are benefiting from way back, they still benefit from.
The inventors.
It will never go away. It's called a real McCoy. Look it up and see how much you learn from it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fascinating, Maze.
That's all I had to say about an IQ.
Okay. Right on, Maze. Well, thanks for what's it called? Weighing in on the whole thing. Appreciate that. And calling my show.
There's nothing wrong with giving my point of view.
No, nobody thought so. Nobody thinking that.
Okay.
Maze, appreciate your call. Call me again.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity. Have
Always.
a good one.
Psh, of course, Maze. Call me again, Maze. Moving the wheels. Very interesting. I didn't hear some of that. The different IQ tests, for adults and kids. Are you sure you took an adult IQ test? Huh? You're gonna want to make sure. You're gonna want to make sure you took the adult one. But even if you did, it won't matter. You're still in the little league. You know the highest IQ man is a Christian? Highest IQ ever recorded. Oh, sorry, not highest IQ ever recorded, but the highest IQ living person today is some man named Christian or Christopher, I believe. Who has the highest IQ? IQ in the world. I know it's an interesting person who I believe is a Christian. I believe he gave up he was like in university trying to put together this whole theory of everything, I believe he called it, or something like that. And he gave it all up. He said, I'm going to be a farmer and just live a simple life. This is like a 200 IQ person. Okay? Oh, man, I'm trying to find him. Is an American man, too. Christopher Langan. Christopher Langan. Ah, yes. That's who I was thinking of. Yeah, he's a Christian. He's a horse rancher. That's what he does. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to live a simple life. It makes me think of the Midwit meme. They say the highest IQ people and the lowest IQ people both understand truth and the reality of stuff and the simple truths. The high IQ people may have to do a little more thinking to get there, but they get there. But the midwits, the people who are just in the middle, probably me, probably people like me, they get into all this academic thinking and they justify all sorts of crazy things. It's like a low IQ person is like, girl have long hair, boy have short hair. And then you get the midwits, and they're like, no, actually, it's a social construct, and the way you're raised is nature versus nurture, and social construct, and the way you're nurtured, and that's why we have societal gender norms that are just relative. And then you get the super high IQ people who say, girl have long hair, boy have short hair. Duh. Knowledge is poison. Thank you. What shall we do now? I got another call, I think. Hold on. Donning Armour. Let me get to Donning Armour, California. You're on the air, sir.
Hey, I hope you're doing well, Nick.
All is well, Donning Armour. Appreciate your call.
That's funny. I'm a farmer, and my name is Christopher. So that's
Wait a second.
I've got a very high IQ.
But are you a Christian?
No, I don't.
I thought I was talking to Christopher Langan for a second.
Yeah, no. I'm superior. I'm superior to Mr. Langan.
Okay.
Well,
what's up, Donnie? Welcome.
As far as the IQ thing goes, yeah, you can change it to a certain extent, but you have limitations. So, how much of, and I wasn't calling about this. I just wanted to brush on the subject. You can affect it. You can change it to some degree. To what degree, I don't know. But it really comes down to those two factors as far as I understand it. So it's environment and it's, like you said, nature versus nurture. And it's biology and environment. To what degree, I don't know. It's an arbitrary number. I don't think anybody really knows. I'm even willing to go to 50% biology, 50% environment, but I can't take it past that because, honestly, I don't know.
Fair enough, man. I agree. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That's why in this whole IQ talk, despite this or that nitpick that I may have, I personally don't think most people will overcome. Maybe you'd think you can't overcome it. I think you can, but I don't think they will. That's why I don't think we need to be subject to all this diversity. But I cut you off. You were saying?
Well, my IQ score is 125, so you better believe in me. Whatever.
Is that really
I
high,
have to say.
or is that a mid? Is that high, or is that really high, or is that midwit?
It's above average.
Donning Armour, right on, man. Hank says in the chat it's midwit.
Yeah, no, it's like slightly above midwit, but
Right on.
I'm not a genius. Don't worry about that.
Shout out to the slightly above midwits.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm
Right on.
slightly above. In height, I'm slightly above average. I'm 6'1", and I can't change that.
Okay.
I suppose I could if I don't know, stretched more often, but it's limited, right?
Gotcha.
You can't. Me as a 6'1" man, I could not will myself to become 7 feet tall, and a person with low IQ cannot will themselves to have a much higher IQ. So that's the way that I see it. Anyway,
I see. You know what? In your example, though, you're saying 125 IQ. You don't see any way to change or overcome that. But let's say this for a second. And I know you a little bit, Donnie Armour. I appreciate your calls. I always do. I see you as a little bit intellectual, and that may be a result of your high IQ. And you may not see this as something as needed, necessarily you need to overcome it. But can you imagine for a second a high IQ person who's very intellectual and maybe too mental about life, meaning, too in his head, unable to really operate in life, and I'm not saying this is you, but unable to operate in the world kind of naturally. Am I making some sense here? Because they're just kind of too smart and thinking about stuff too much.
Yeah, well,
I say you can overcome that the same way a low IQ person can.
They tend to be antisocial people,
right?
Because they can't relate to anybody else, and that's probably the most important factor in life is being able to relate to each other.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, if you look at who are the smartest people that we can think of, like Sir Isaac Newton, incredibly intelligent, completely antisocial. Isaac Newton, incredibly intelligent, couldn't hold a relationship, couldn't get along with people. By and large, I guess that's where the expression "too smart for their own good" came from, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me, man. And when I'm saying overcome, I think I'm going along that line. I think that's what you can overcome. For example, it's not that you could change your IQ, but you can overcome being too smart for your own good. And for example, I remember Sean, Jesse's producer, his new producer, bringing up how high IQ people are more likely to get addicted to stuff and unable to overcome it. Like they're unable to kick the habit, high IQ people. I say, as difficult as it may be, that's something they can overcome. Let's say they're subject to their IQ and their IQ is, causing them to be more likely addicted. I'm saying that that's what you can overcome. And so in a sense, you're overcoming your IQ, your so-called, IQ or whatever.
That's interesting. I'd like to actually look up some articles about that. But I don't deny it. I just find it fascinating.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I wanted to talk about this eating dirt thing.
Oh, okay. You heard that? Okay. What do you think about 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍�?
Yeah, I've never heard the term before. Okay. But I would think that I've watched a documentary on Haiti.
Okay.
And they make mud cookies for the kids. Mm-hmm. And I think that's due to starvation.
Gotcha.
If they have a little bit of flour, a little bit of sugar or salt or anything, they sprinkle it on basically mud that they get from a mountain, and they feed their kids so that they don't feel hungry, basically.
Gotcha. So it's like what's it called? A scarcity move out of desperation or scarcity.
It ties into the fact that Black people do have the lowest IQ, generally speaking, and they're just not very good at developing societies, so they have to cope with it, and that's why they do it. That's what I would presume. I don't know this for a fact because, I can't. I've never been to Haiti, and I would never want to go.
I guess I didn't really. It's not that I didn't consider what you're saying. I guess I was reading this article about that. In Mississippi, there were still some dirt eaters, and the way they described it was I found it interesting. I found it no different than the way anybody else describes their vices and issues. But I'm not denying what you're saying about poorer countries, though, and them having to do this. And this might even be, due to their IQ, which I don't know what that means. I still even think in this case, for example, the Haitians, as much as they haven't, maybe they haven't, we haven't seen it done, I think it might be possible to overcome it.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's possible.
I don't know what to... Okay, well, it ties in.
But I guess I didn't even consider that angle. Not that I didn't consider, but I wasn't really thinking about it that much. I don't deny it, though. We haven't seen any progress or anything like that in a lot of those countries.
I was also going to just say that eating soil, because dirt and soil are different. So eating healthy soil, not in large amounts. I mean, I'm talking about pulling a carrot out of, just, for an example, pulling a carrot out of the ground, wiping some of the soil off with your hand, and then eating the carrot, right? I don't think that that's bad. I think that could be beneficial because healthy living soil, well, it's alive. It's got, arthropods. It's got nematodes, both, and bacteria and other organisms. But it depends on the quality. So, like somebody was saying, if I could find some good dirt, there's no such thing as good dirt.
You ever heard that? Like a junkie say, if I could just find one good hit of heroin of some good stuff, and then I'll quit. That's how I read that.
Well, the bacteria that's in healthy soil, if it's healthy, because you get bad bacteria as well, but if it's healthy, it's mostly beneficial bacteria. And that's not bad for your gut biome. That actually, there's research that shows that is beneficial to your health. And that's how we lived for thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, in fact. So I'm not saying make mud cakes and feed them to your children because you don't have any food. I'm saying, would you rather pull a carrot out of some healthy ground and, wipe it off a couple times, get most of that soil off there, and then just munch on it? Or would you rather do what we all probably do, which is go to the grocery store and buy carrots? Those carrots are sprayed with pesticides. insecticides, fungicides, and given chemical fertilizers. And then even after that, they're chemically peeled and then packaged and stored in a factory and then shipped to your local store. Which sounds healthier to you? I mean, I think I just want my kid to pull a carrot out the ground, just give it some good wipes.
Give it a little wipe.
Yeah.
A little dirt, a little soil ain't hurt. It's not going to kill you. Might even toughen you up a bit. Boy, eat that carrot. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So that was my only, that was like the main reason why I called, is just to say, hey, like, if it's healthy soil and you can eat organically, go for it. But a lot of us, and myself included, we resort to buying this garbage that comes from the grocery store, and it looks nice. Everything has to look pristine and perfect. When you buy an apple, it doesn't have any blemishes on it. If it has any blemishes, they throw it away.
Yeah.
But I have 3 apple trees in my backyard. They don't look perfect, but they're delicious.
You know where they came from?
I know where they came from. I don't spray my crops with pesticides or anything. I don't use fake fertilizer. I cook my own compost. So
right on, man.
I just think it's best to get back to older times before the advent of modern agricultural practices. That was my point.
Man, thanks for your comments there, Donning Armor, holding down the Donning family farm there. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Call me again, man.
Peace out.
Moving the wheels. I guess I was just being cute, okay? I was just being cute and a little quaint because, it's easy to be like, oh, look at these dirt eaters. But I was trying to be a little cute because we're just all dirt eaters, okay? We just have fancy dirt and we just have fancy schmancy chemicals and stuff. I guess I was trying to act brand new, okay? Dang, calls are still coming in. Let's do this last call here. But before I do that, let me read some of these supers. Oh, geez, my bad. We got some super chats here. Of Aaron C says, bell curve covers all this ish, man. Covers everything. Thank you for the super chat of Aaron C. The bell curve. John Frederick super chats says, Nick, have you taken an IQ test? What did you think about the types of questions? I don't care about your score. Nice show. I don't know if I have. I don't think I've ever taken an actual IQ test. I think I remember not too long ago seeing something called an IQ test on the internet, but it was just some website. I don't know what the heck that was. And it was like a bunch of patterns. It was like a square. It would show like 4 squares, and then it would have a dot on one of the corners. And the next square, the dot would move down to the bottom left corner. And then the next one, the dot would move to the bottom right corner. And then the last square would have no dot, and you'd have to logically, I guess, find out where would the dot go next. Obviously, it's following a pattern. It's going top left to bottom right. And the last one is top right. Those questions like that. Oh, you know what, John Frederick, you're reminding me something, though. As a kid, I think I took one of those kid IQ tests Maze was talking about. And if I'm supposed to understand anything Maze was saying, I think that means I was a suspected slow kid. Hold on. If I'm remembering correctly here, I'm pretty sure as a kid, because I'm getting some memory unlocking here going on, that I was in grade school, and my mom, I did some tests and all that, and we got the results back, and my mom sat me down, and she did the whole thing where she was like, okay, what this means is you have to go to you can go to a different school. It's up to you, though. Do you want to stay here or go to this different school? And I think I elected to stay because I didn't want to lose my friends. Was that other school the high IQ school or a low IQ school? The mystery remains. Where was I supposed to go? Was I supposed to go off with the geniuses or the slow people? I guess we'll never know because I elected to stay. I'm telling you, this is unlocking a memory. I took one of those child IQ test, Maze. You know what that means. I think I may have, there's some suspicions about me, but the mystery remains. We don't know the answer. Maybe some of you already have your speculations about me. What's my IQ, Lin Yan Chin? Tell him. Lin Yan Chin in the chat probably knows. You guys are saying a bunch of interesting things in the chat I've been meaning to get to. I can't get to all of them. I'm scrolling up too high. Let me see if I could finish these super chats, though. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. You're all saying interesting things. Lin Yan Chin with the super chat says, IQs is just eyesight of the mind. It's not knowledge like idiots keep saying it is. You overcome IQ by use of mental glasses. Your sapience, a.k.a. sense of I versus my. You are not your eyesight. I'm following you, man. Lin Yan Chin continues, says, knowledge is not IQ. Knowledge is information. Intellect, IQ, is the resolution of concentration in your flow of attention. Low IQ versus normal versus genius is like 720p versus 1080p versus 4K. And I'm reminded of a chat earlier, Lin Yan Chin, I think you were saying something about the silent prayer is overcoming IQ. I'm following you, man. I think I'm with you. Latin A in Cali with the super chat says, you prefer super chat or what other way to donate? You're welcome to donate by super chat. You're welcome to also donate over on Rumble if you want to be a subscriber or you want to just super chat over there on Rumble with a Rumble rant. Both will be appreciated. Maybe you don't want to support YouTube. That's fair. They can be a little evil as much as we appreciate following their rules and their reach. Maybe you don't want to support YouTube. Fair enough. Go over on Rumble and you can be a subscriber or send me a Rumble rant. You know, I'll consider other ways if you guys think it's necessary, if you guys think it should come to me and not go to any of these companies. I don't know. But for now, that's a couple of ways you can support. If you can't support that way, everybody watching, you can support me by liking the stream. Press the like button on this very stream or any other of my videos you're watching. Leave a comment after the fact. Go into the comments, leave a comment. Those are simple ways that you can support me without paying any money at all. It helps a lot. You know, it puts my stuff out there. So thank you for all of you who are dropping the likes, dropping the comments. Nick had the option to go to the school Center for Kids Who Can't Read Good and who want to learn to do other stuff good too. Where was I supposed to go, chat? What was that letter that my mom was holding and asking, Nick, do you accept what this letter, this IQ test you took says about you, which we still don't know the answer to? Because I never said yes. Chat, where was I supposed to go? Was I supposed to go to the smart school or the slow school? You guys have been watching my show enough to maybe make an estimation. I wonder where my life would have ended up. Should I have said yes? Thank you, Latin A in Cali, for that, by the way. Carver with the super chat asks, get the whole bond staff to take IQ tests, and he writes Hake wins in parentheses. That might be true. BA with the super chat says, IQ is considered a strong predictor of long-term success. Minority families succeeded because they conformed to moral society made by intelligence. Interesting take, BA. Very interesting. Mari Ubaldo, thank you for the super chat, says, hola, chico. You always supportive. Thank you for that. Starved Baby says, every knee shall bow, every tongue will confess Jesus Christ is Lord to the glory of God. Thank you for the super chat, Starved Baby. Right on. Christ is King. Eric, I already read yours, says, shout out to the Growing Bond Network. You guys rock. Thanks for the support. You guys keeping it going. Show us Magnum, Nick. What are you talking about? Preparatory school for men? Nick, take an IQ test and show us. Uh-oh. Get a Bitcoin wallet. Not a bad idea. Is chatting the same as comment? No, Eric, it's different. All your chats during my live show, all your chats help me as well, by the way. So all your mess and all your little chats there, and you know, hey, that helps me as well. But Eric, I'm talking about leaving a comment on the video, you know, the posted video after the fact. When you go scroll down and you see leave a comment for the video, That's what I'm talking about. It helps me too. So thank you for that. Nice. All right, y'all. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Got into the weeds there a little bit. We may have come out the other side with a lower IQ. My apologies. I hope you were entertained all the same, and maybe got a little something from the show. We'll be back tomorrow for more American Anchor Baby at 12. We got more American Anchor Baby tomorrow. We got Hake Report, JLP show, Bible Thumper Thursday. Always fun. You don't want to miss it. Nick don't know the Zoolander references. I don't. Right on, y'all. It's been fun. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Back tomorrow for more American Anchor Baby. Much appreciated. Go back and watch Hassan's episode if you missed it. Otherwise, y'all, again, take care. It's been a pleasure as always. Let me just sign off here. Oops. No, don't do that. Right on, y'all. Take care. See you tomorrow.